need approval of the minutes, last meeting. I didn't see anything wrong with them.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Bill,
Yep.
Rob,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes. Okay, discussion and approval of the financial report.
Okay, I got the August, bank reconciliation for August, we have $1,560,529.85 in. And then, reconciliation for last month, maybe for September, we had, $1,585,312.18. I'll give this a copy of Bonnie's. We had, been outstanding payments of about $1,104.99. And it looks like the general property tax revenue, we're about 94.8% as of right now. And income tax, we're about 89%. For the year.
Okay, anybody got any questions? If no discussion, we'll need approval of the financial report.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Who's the first one?
Rob?
Rob?
Rob,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Stan.
Yes. Okay. Special guest, but, public comment. Bev, you got something?
Yes, I just wanted to bring to the council that I would like to have the Christmas tree lighting on Sunday, November 29th. It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and it would be at the bank again. I need to contact them, and I just wanted to make sure that the town would still support that and provide the lights for the tree.
What time was it, Bev?
Sunday?
It starts at 5:30, and then Santa will be there at 6.
I thought you said Sunday, didn't you?
Did you say Sunday?
It's a Sunday,
Sunday,
yes.
okay.
Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I wouldn't think council would have any problem with that, would
No.
we?
No, it's good thing to do.
Okay. He said fine, so,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Anybody else got any comment?
I do. When I first moved here, I had to pay a $100 deposit for the water. And with the thought of it, or the person told me that I would get my $100 back if I paid my bill on time and after a year. Well, it's been after a year I've been living here, so I'm wondering why I haven't got it.
Because we don't do that.
Why don't we?
Because it can be applied to your last bill, but we don't return the deposit until,
Where does this say in council? Did council pass the rules and everything for water
yes,
and for waste? I wanna see the ordinance,
no problem, I can get it to you after the meeting.
okay? I wanna see that, because my landlord, who I rent off, she paid $100 too. So you're double dipping here. Oh, yes, you did, cause I talked to her.
Yeah.
There's
She-
only one deposit on that computer.
No, Nancy Hobbs
Nancy
paid $100
dollars.
deposit, has never got it
Back.
back. We paid $100, so more or less like if we walk out of the house and she gets stuck with a water bill, that's between me and her, it's not between us and that's the
No.
water department.
No, no,
No.
Well, the
that's not
government,
true.
you double.
Well, yeah, it is.
If you guys walk away from the house and leave a water bill, that's between us and her.
Okay,
There
but
you
you already,
go.
you already yeah.
So then why did you charge me $100?
Because
No,
we do
that's
for
it,
every
no.
renter.
I'll tell you what, you're gonna need this guy.
Okay.
I wanna see the ordinance, I wanna see where council passed this.
And then you're making interest on this, like Nancy's owned that for probably, what, 10 years? You have made interest on her $100.
I'll have to look in there to see
Because
where
when I
that's
moved
at.
in here, I paid a deposit. After the year, I got my deposit back.
Yeah.
That
I
was
know that's how the
92.
gas
We were
company
told
out.
No,
We'll
that's
get
not
it
the
back.
gas, it was
You
the water,
pay it,
and the
and
drivers
we'll
were
get
the
it back.
ones that was running it.
Wow.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
anyway,
can't
I wanna
speak
see the
for
ordinance,
Shriver. Okay,
you know?
not a
I
problem.
wanna see the ordinance for the water and sewer.
Not a problem.
And then also too, what is your job title?
Administrator,
Of what?
the village.
Give me some examples.
Administrator is over enterprise funds, water, sewer, anything that brings in income.
Do you
And
go out on the
streets.
street and do anything?
Yeah,
When?
all the time.
No, you don't.
I just seen you the other day doing
Oh, no,
something, John.
hey, God darn, what, another day. Oh, I
Yes,
seen him one time. I have never seen this man out. I have sat out front here, watched, and nobody leaves this camp. Go ahead and laugh. It's your guys' money that we're paying this man. What do you make here?
are you paying any?
Taxes?
You're paying, what taxes?
What do you mean, what?
What taxes are you paying?
I'm paying
Are you
village
paying
tax.
Rita tax? No, you rent. Are you retired?
Yep,
You're not paying nothing
it
then.
doesn't make no difference.
Yes, it
I
does.
pay taxes in my lifetime. This man is collecting tax money. So, by God, you guys better have ordinance for every time you wanna pay this man. And I wanna know what, oh yeah, by law, you must have an ordinance to get paid. And your so-called lawyer up here, whatever, he has to look into that. State statute says you have to do that. Now, I asked you a question, what do you make a year? It's all public record.
I'm salary, so I think 39 last year.
Alright. You have to check, the water tower. Who does the reading of the water tower every day? Takes the samples.
Dave Clark does, or I do.
Do you have a license from the state to do that?
I don't need one with Dave. I can operate under his license.
Dave what?
Clark.
I know when I worked for the city of Falls River, you couldn't do that. And I had a class
You
one
can
class
for,
two.
you can for up to 60 days consecutive.
How long has it been? mean,
I said
did
consecutive.
you take this job to read that and get a license?
No,
Who did?
Dave Clark did.
And he got his license.
He's had his license since before he worked here.
Who, before he worked here, so we're paying two people to do the same job you're supposed to be doing? Since you're supposed to be what? the
Street superintendent is what I was originally hired to be.
So they turned around and council voted you in to do this job?
Yeah,
So they have an ordinance on this, right?
I'm sure.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
All right, I wanna see that one too.
Oh,
Don't slander
yeah,
the thing.
another non-taxpayer.
So, but anyway, you make 39,000 a year,
Right around there.
all right? What's this Dave Clark make?
I honestly don't know.
He can get that for you afterwards.
So you have that in an
We're not gonna
ordinance form?
spend on
too?
it, huh?
Everyone's hired by ordinance. Yes.
So then in the ordinance, you have step by step what these people are supposed to do, right?
No, there's no technical job description as in that, just what's outlined in the Ohio Revised Code. Excuse me. Just what's outlined in the Ohio Revised Code.
And you're basing it on that you're administrator.
That is my title, yes.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Okay, anybody else got anything? Yeah, Leanne?
I just wanted to ask when the future scholarships for Bristol
like the Frank Hauser, Grimes and all of those. I know I communicated with a few people last year, and the only indication I got that it was being looked into, and basically trying to figure out, because it was
That's supposed to-
specifically written in that it was for a Bettsville student. We only had a handful of Bettsville students graduate last year, only 2 attended college from there, and 1 lived in Fremont, so it was not really applicable last year if that was the rule, but I just kind of want to open that discussion if there's any ideas of what you're going to do with that, because I would like that to be represented if that's what the
So
wishes are.
as I recall, my interpretation of it with the current school situation is a student who's come from Bettsville Village itself is how, even though the Bettsville school is combining with Old Fort. So-
And if that's said, because I can see that causing a little bit of an issue, because there are several that, came over that our students from both districts, original districts, are able to receive, so I just wondered if that was in stone.
I think that's the best way to interpret the trust document.
So I think
And so that was my opinion on that.
I think you have to look at the intent of what the trust was when it was originally set up. So, I mean, that's kind of sets the tone for how it's structured.
Well, and I understand,
So
the
if
intent
somebody-
was when there was one district, it was Bettsville, and obviously
Yeah.
that's no longer.
But I think the intent is for the village of Bettsville,
Okay.
not for Old Fort or townships, or it's for the village.
And then my question would be to the application process, if that would be the same as what it was before, and then I would have to contact who has that information.
Are you on the committee, Bev?
I'm on Grimes.
You're on Grimes, and then which one's Trish on? She on
I think she's Frank.
Frank Hauser?
Yeah.
You know, because I had talked to her, and she said they was gonna have a meeting to see what they could come up with, because the way it read, the scholarships would go to the kids, but if there wasn't any, then it would go to a church, all right, there's 3 churches in town, so how do you do this too? So I think it might have to be looked into a little bit more, to maybe figure out how we can get this evened out.
My understanding was that the money was set aside, that if both churches of Salem and
And
Zion,
combined,
years gone by, combined, that money would be available for them to build a church,
I see.
or to combine. But I know that I've talked with Tim Lynch, and we've talked about getting together to get this straightened out. And that's all I know at this time. Just wanted to throw it out there, because
Yeah.
I usually start handing those out in January.
Oh, do they? But you didn't have enough time last year, is that the way it
Well,
was? Or-
I wasn't getting a good enough answer as to how to present that, And there were so few students, like I said, there was only 2 out of the original Bettsville kids that graduated, that went to college,
Mhm.
that would have been able to use it, and 1 wasn't an open enrollment student, so it wouldn't have applied if that was the rule that I followed.
Okay. No, I think this needs to be looked into a little bit more.
Should I just expect someone to contact me?
Yeah, we'll get together with the 2.
Okay. We're trying to get a meeting together, but we'll get it done. Thank you. You're welcome.
That it, there's nothing in for you? Bill? Esther?
Do we have anybody looking into the stop signs, no parking signs? We got a lot of them in town here that are not legible. You can't write a ticket for something that you can't read, because a judge would throw it out. I mean, it's just something, because I've seen a lot of stop signs.
Well, I think if you look around town, we've been moving forward, replacing the signs. Now, we can't obviously spend all this money and change all the signs. at
Oh,
once.
no,
You gotta understand.
I understand that.
No,
No.
well, what you're saying is not totally true. I mean, we have just put up new signs here in the last couple weeks, the last month or so, like the school zone and all that, so we've been working on all those things. So,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
so-
just saying, that I just wondered if you gonna incorporate into that with stop signs, no parking signs, No, I was just wondering if you guys had
There's
that
a
on
certain
mind.
amount of money that we allocate every year for
Right, I
street repairs, that
understand
kind
that.
of stuff like that, and there's the money goes towards those things.
Right, I understand that 100%.
Okay, I think it's very important that you all understand too, that this is a small village, this is not Tiff, and this is not Fostoria.
Right,
We have
no.
a certain amount of resources that we can spend on any one given thing. And so we make allocations to street repairs where we think the money needs to be funded to, and that's what we've been doing. So I think if you, I mean,
I'm
it's,
just
yeah,
throwing that out because, you know,
but
there's
you,
some stop signs that are, you know, should be replaced, at least 2 or 3 of them, you know?
yeah.
Especially if you got them back in alleys where, you know, people are flying through, it's supposed to be a 4-way stop, you know? Can't read the sign, how the hell are you gonna, you know?
I can't, you know, I mean, there might be a few months, but I think the
Yeah,
majority,
but
the majority of them you can see signs. I mean, there
Yeah,
might
I'm
be
just,
some on the
I'm
alleyways
just
or
putting
something
that
like
out,
that.
just, you know,
Why don't you make a list of the ones that you can't see and we'll look at them?
okay, I can do that. Bring it into your next council.
I think they mainly need like trimming, like trim, and then you can see it, cause I know down where I live, there's like a lot of shrubs and everything all grown up, and you can't hardly see the sign.
Well, see, that's kind of the property owner's issue, that
Yeah.
if the shrubs and stuff are going up, and so, I mean, I guess we can petition the property owner to resolve those issues, but, I mean, if they planted trees or brush or something like that on the,
Yeah, that would
Property
be more or
lines.
less the owner, wouldn't it?
well, see, the problem is, a lot of that stuff's on actually village property. I mean, as far as, you know, the right of ways, not the property ourselves, but the right of ways where we have the street right of ways and stuff like that. So, you know,
What are we gonna do about these dogs barking?
well, we got to
We
ordinance.
got an
we
ordinance.
got an ordinance for that.
I'm working on it.
How do you stop them from barking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had the first
Find the
meeting.
owner.
An idea, but.
Go down to the farm.
I mean, the only thing we.
But that's- We're working on ordinance right now with it, so this will be the second reading of it tonight.
Speaking of that, there's been not one formal complaint about dogs barking in this entire village. So I keep on hearing this, there's all
Oh,
this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I do, you know, whenever it's my turn. yeah.
There may not be a formal complaint, but there's a
I
lot
don't
of.
take Facebook
Well,
complaints and
well,
like, I see
really-
all the scutterbutt on people complaining
Really,
about
I'm
things.
trying to keep, I'm trying not to do that, but,
Joyce knows what we're talking
yes.
But if there's no formal complaint, I can't do anything.
Okay, can I talk next?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, can I get your name?
about. Dan Frazier,
I don't know the last name.
Kracher.
Joyce has been working with me on this, and I really appreciate everything that she's doing. But it come up, where Dan and I live, there's an alley, okay, and for about 2 months or longer, it was not mowed, you know, trash on the porch, things like that, you know, I just asked to have it cleaned up.
Yeah.
They brought a dog over, which I love dogs, and that's probably why I really hesitated to call. But, I mean, it goes on mainly at night, I think the
Talking about the
dog,
dog barking?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
right under our, like, right under our window, constantly. So, I don't know more or less if the gentleman, you know, an officer went there. So more or less what he did is put up a no trespassing sign and had Dan and I served with his paper.
I have a copy of that.
Okay, I think, you know, he was mad, upset, you know, that we did this, but how would he like it if I brought my dog over there, barked in his, and I smelled dog crap and pee all the time when my windows were up? You know, more or less I got it because I was giving the dog treats, Dan for making 2 or 3 swipes on his lawn to make ours look better.
Right.
And then we mowed his other rentals property also, which, you know, we're not doing nothing. But, you know, the dog, I guess he bought the dog a shock collar, I was told.
Okay,
Okay, but last night, the dog was bark. I didn't call,
okay.
because, you know, I know the dog's gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Well, when Dan and I were gone, when the officer came to our house,
Okay.
the neighbors watched us and told me this yesterday. The officer knocked on the front door, went to the back, knocked on it, went to the front, knocked on it, went to the back. They thought something happened to me, so they were concerned knowing Dan's truck was gone. Then the officer started going around looking in my windows. Why is he looking in my windows?
I wasn't there, it was the Center County Sheriff's Office. I can't
No,
speak to that.
No, this was a
this was a
city.
Betsville cop that served us from Seneca, County Sheriff Department. And what I'm wondering, you know, if you're not home, you know, I mean, I could see if it was something serious, but it wasn't, it's just a notice, you know, to say, hey, stay off the property, no problem. But to be looking in our windows, I didn't care for that.
I didn't.
Kim, didn't you say your neighbor was concerned that something might be wrong with you, being the truck was gone and they thought you might be alone? Maybe that's why he looked in the windows, thinking maybe you was laying on the floor somewhere.
Well, he doesn't know me, that's the first time
Well,
I met him.
I'm saying, maybe not just you, maybe anybody else that would have happened.
Well, the guy came over then and asked the officer, what's going on, because they see him looking in our windows. So they were concerned and asked him, why he was there. And he said, well, to serve him the papers, to give him a notice of trespassing. So I just didn't know, is that regular?
There could be any numbers of reasons. People like to dodge, things like that, so maybe he was trying to make contact with you through a window, maybe he didn't think you could hear, maybe he was concerned. I'm not gonna speak for him, but I will check in with Fred.
Well, I knew when Dan and I come into town, I see him sitting at the church, so I walked over there. And, I just said, who I was.
Yeah.
And he said, well, is your husband home? And I said, yes. He said, we just talked to both of you. And I said, okay. And I said, I only got one thing. The next time, you want to talk to me, I'd rather that you didn't tell my neighbors. You should come to me first.
It sounds like they tried to come through.
Well, I don't know. I think it's because Sean must have came over when he was concerned, why are you looking in the windows and going from door to door?
So the officer was approached and asked what they were doing on your property, and he explained to them what he was doing, correct?
Yes, but what they seen and found abnormal was him looking in my windows.
I will check into it. Like I said, there's a multitude of reasons. Maybe they thought you were there and were trying to dodge it. Maybe they thought that you couldn't hear them knocking. Maybe they thought that you were injured or something else since there was a vehicle there. I can't say, but I will look into it.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you a call back.
Yeah, my name is Dane Jesse. I don't know when the right time to bring this up is, if it's to wait towards, after the meeting's over. A general discussion about the park. I'm sure you guys maybe have had plenty of discussions about the park, but I have, just some things to say, introduce myself, stuff like that, whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, when we get to that, then, okay?
What's that?
When we get to the park.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
Hey, Brandon, another thing I said, the thing too that really concerned me, what if I would have been in there and wouldn't have been dressed? That's the thing I didn't like.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh my God, what if I wouldn't have been dressed, and here's the
Yeah, no,
guy.
If they look in your window,
It happened. It's happened to me in Fostoria, so.
To me, that's like a peeping Tom,
Okay.
They're there for a lawful reason. I guess it's not.
I just found it very abnormal,
It's
Even down
not
at Eric's
abnormal.
house, huh?
What's that? It's not abnormal, in this profession to do something like that. I'm not saying I completely agree with it, but it's been done and it is done for a multitude of reasons. Like I said, I can't say exactly why he did that, so.
Okay,
I will
this,
check.
Okay, thank you.
let's keep going. Okay, anybody else got anything? If not, we'll go on to reports and committees. Finance, budget, audit, spent.
We're gonna discuss that, so I think that,
Okay.
change the agenda a little bit, so.
Okay, police, Brandon.
We have a copy of the report, for the citations and warnings. The only other things that I'd like to bring up are the appointment of Andrew Stevens, as part-time patrol officer. He just got his uniform, so he'll be starting training, with myself and Jason and Melissa. He is working full-time at, Mercy Police Department Mercy Hospital has a police department now, and he's working there full-time. So he'll be filling in here. He works 12, so he has every other week's the opposite, so he'll be filling in. I went and did a demonstration with my K-9 at Old Fort for the 2nd grade. I did it last year and I did it again this year on Monday. So we now have a department cell phone, which we're in the process of trying to get that when an officer is on duty, the calls from the office be afforded the cell phone so that he can be on patrol more and not have to come back and check for messages. It'll be quicker to get a hold of them, and if there's any issues, they can call the county and whatnot. And it's just a basic flip phone, there's no web or anything like that, and they've been advised it's for department use only, and it'll be monitored.
What number is it?
What's that?
You have a number?
You got a-
I will give you the number here once we get the call forwarding going.
Okay,
So
okay.
we're in the process of working with Frontier now.
Okay.
I don't know if this was brought up last two meetings, because I wasn't here, but me and Joyce got together, and I will now be taking care of the zoning notifications, either going to the door or making contact, which we already did with a couple properties, and it's been remedied as far as I know. So I think I made the comment that she doesn't need to be out there doing that.
I can take care of myself.
I know. That's part of our job, so I will make sure that that's done, so that
I've
you
only
guys
had
have
a couple people really,
Well, yeah, we don't need any of that, so.
yeah, okay.
Other than that, I gave you all a copy of the proposal for one full-time officer. Since the day I walked in here, we've had problems filling hours, no secret. So I got with Angela and Larry, and we sat down and crunched numbers, how much it would cost, and these are the numbers. These are, obviously can be manipulated, but these are the basic points that I want to bring up. Rate, hours of service, and all the income that they would acquire, so. Going by the village handbook, they would get the 2 weeks vacation after 1 year. Either use it or lose it, there is no carryover type thing. They will get 11 of the federal holidays, and they have to be taken on the holiday unless it falls on a weekend, and then it would be the prior day. They would have 5 sick days, and also use it or lose it. So these are the hard numbers. I'm open to any suggestions on hours, rate, and anything like that. The one thing we are looking into is the insurance cost. We're kind of trying to determine how we're going to do the insurance. If we're going to have to offer to pay all of it, we'll pay a portion of it or whatnot, and it all stems from how we word it, I guess, with the appointment of the officer, so.
Well, that's roughly what, around $700 a month roughly for that?
No, it depends. If it's a single, it's only $200 to $300, but if it's a family thing, it can get pricey, so. We're looking into that, but this is, the hours that I gave, the 28,817 is for the 40 hours, 52 weeks, 2,080 hours a year, plus all the billings for PERS and things like that, tax and whatnot, so, Medicare, Medicaid.
What are you talking price?
Total cost would be 28,817,
A year?
yeah,
That's cheap.
yes.
Very cheap.
It's unfortunate that we don't have enough revenue to pay them more, but, you know, a lot of people think of the villages as starting out and getting their feet wet and kind of learning at a slower pace to move
So-
on to full-time equipment.
Now, this gentleman's gonna work what, 40 hours?
I don't have anybody in,
No, but I mean, when you
correct, it'd be 40 hours a week.
Would they have to live in Betsville?
No. There would be no, I've had,
They pretty well don't do that anymore.
no, it's actually, in 2008, I believe it was, they outlawed that, the Supreme Court ruled that that is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd like it, it was wonderful when Brittany worked here and she, so it's unfortunately, it's too hard to require.
Do you think we're gonna get somebody for that kind of money?
40, or
I think so.
full-time.
Really? I think so.
I
That's
would-
my opinion.
I would love to,
This one.
that's up to them,
Because we need somebody that's full-time.
I agree, so, I just bring them the information, they determine all those.
Well,
I don't get any of that. None of it, I work and I wanna get paid now.
So I think we need to, you know, as council needs to discuss how we wanna move forward, but I think that's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're all of
Discuss
Section
it.
3 different classes.
Well, we can discuss it.
I'd like to try to start doing this real close to the first of the year.
Right, so we gotta start on it
So we
now.
got, yeah.
Correct, so I mean, 40 hours a week, obviously it's standard, there'll be no overtime unless absolutely necessary. And we'll, I guess, write that in the ordinance, or you guys write that in the ordinance when you do it. Or it's probably outlined in the employee handbook, I imagine, too. I
Are we
have,
gonna have any daytime hours on this too? Are we gonna have some daytime hours?
The
Or
full-
part-time, you
I'm
guys.
going to fill the gaps after the 40 hours up to full-time with part-time. So that'll help me, because now I'm trying to schedule, 60 to 80 hours of part-time people, and it's impossible to do. So if we have those core 40 hours covered, I can just fill the gaps with part-time people, and it'll be a lot easier. It's pretty average, the $12 an hour is what, I believe what Green Springs pays, and Attica for their full-time officers, so it's, I wouldn't say it's overly competitive, but it's on par with everyone else. So we-
Brandon, how many part-time officers do we have now?
1, 2, 3, maybe 4.
4? All right, thanks.
I recently, there was some problems filling some schedules, and I put a directive out requiring them to work at least 2 shifts per month. Not only to make sure that we keep them here and get some, I don't wanna say use out of them, but they need to stay fresh too, so if they work at a minimum of 2 hours, it takes a while to even come in and get comfortable, so you gotta at least do 2 hour or 2 shifts a month to stay on par with even just our internal things that happen, changes that are made.
How many full-time officers do you have?
None. Right, this is a proposal for 1 full-time officer.
Good idea.
So, the days that I came up with, and this is the way I'm going to try to do, it would be a Tuesday through Saturday shift, they'd have Sunday, Monday off. Sunday and Mondays seem to be some of the slower days. And a Tuesday through Saturday, and they would work with what I would consider an afternoon shift would be 2 to 10. Those are the core hours from the time people get off work till they go to bed, and then, I could try to cover from 10 to, 2 to 4 sometimes, and then I could also have some day shift from 8 to 2 or whatnot, so. Basically, the reason is we haven't been able to cover, I'm just trying to provide a better service and protection to the village, and, cover those main hours, core hours consistently, and then we can fill in the gaps as needed.
Well, I think it's important for the community as a whole to understand we only have so much money
Right.
to work with, and so we gotta find a balance there of what we can do with, with the resources that we can get a hold of. And it's just like everything else, we're competing with the rest of the market,
Right.
and the community's trying to get this help. So it becomes a very much of a challenge trying to fill these slots. I mean, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is.
Right.
And then, even at $12 an hour is not a lot realistically in today's job market.
Right.
So,
Brandon, is there any grant money out there for something like this? You know what?
Grant money pretty much washed up in about 2008 when all the,
Yeah,
with that
But I-
financial collapse. So there's not much for smaller villages, unfortunately. And even over the past, I know, just since, I would say 2010, the governor, or the state itself took a lot of funding away from the villages
yeah.
to cover anything.
Right.
So it's really put a hurting on us, and
And
it's
again,
unfortunate.
that goes back to the income surveys too, because,
Correct.
if we don't get the income surveys back from the community,
Correct.
we can't qualify for grants. So, you gotta have that base income from the community, so we can try to qualify for some of those things.
The only grant that I know about that's specific, and I imagine it's still based on probably the income survey, is the SAFER grant. And that's usually for multiple full-time officers in cities and whatnot, so.
Okay, council got any more questions on this?
Any thoughts on hours or wages or anything like that?
I think
Any
the-
questions?
I think you're on target there.
And I think you can adjust once we get going and see where the road needs are at. I just, we'll see. I mean, like I said, we wanna find a balance for keeping the traffic under control, but
Right.
still not being punitive to our neighborhood.
Right.
And, if people are doing something stupid, then they may address it, but the goal is to find a balance there, right?
Right.
So,
If there's no discussion on that, then the next thing is I will pass it out. Right now I'm looking into acquiring a new cruiser. I know you guys got the cruiser when Chief Mason was here, and it was, I don't know what kind of way to put it. It's basically a grocery getting soccer mom vehicle, as bad as that sounds. But it does not have the appropriate equipment. Does not have the appropriate brakes, charging systems and things that are needed for police vehicles. We've been having some electrical problems with lights and stuff shorting out. I don't see I looked at it, can't find any reasons why, so I did what any good electrician would do and put a bigger fuse in, so.
How much for the police car?
What?
How much do you think it would be for this police car?
Well, he's gonna get
I'll
to
get-
that,
I'll get-
Gary, he's getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
What I did is I got a quote from Reineke, and it's a state bid, so it's
right.
standard, there's not much variation. And there's several ways to do it, and it's called a municipal lease. Basically, you pay payments, it's a payment plan, but you own it. I don't know why they call it a lease, it's basically a purchase plan. The total for the vehicle for my wish list would be $46,787. The base vehicle that we could get, this is all equipment, everything installed and everything, would be $43,681. That includes a optional $5,000 camera system. It's not absolutely necessary, but you've all seen everything in the news. Camera systems are the way it's gonna be standard from now on. So that's something that could be subtracted from that price, and we can acquire later and install later. We will be utilizing some of the old equipment if we were to get a new vehicle. Total of $3,645.86 of old equipment we'd be taking from that cruiser and putting in the new cruiser if we were to acquire one. And then we would, or you guys would be able to decide whether we either trade that vehicle in, keep it, or whatever, or sell it outright, whatever we wanna do with it. So, I will pass that around, this is all the information for the cruiser I want. This is an SUV all-wheel drive cruiser. You've probably seen them around, Fostoria and Tiffin, everywhere, Green Springs has one. And it is a police model, it's made specifically for the police vehicles. Has the bigger brakes, has a bigger charging system, and whatnot.
Pretty cool looking.
We in Fostoria got 3 of them brand new last year. We have seen a 30% increase in, or 30% decrease in fuel cost. It's due to some sort of, it must be the gearing, because the engine's similar size as what we have now. I think it has to do with the gearing and whatnot. This vehicle is tiny inside, even for a small guy like me. It's just not built for that. It's worked, but in the future, we're gonna start having problems with it. It's not that old, but, you know, things were cut and added, not by a professional, and we've had issues and might foresee issues in the future. So I think we need to start looking into that as a future expenditure. All in the thing of the vehicle, last year I turned in $13,000 returned to the general fund that I did not spend. That was due to manpower issues, and I didn't really buy much equipment. This year I project to give back about $25,000 due to our unfortunate manpower issues, and I haven't really bought anything but a new computer for the office. Right there is $38,000 of that $43 that kind of has already been appropriated to police, but gave back into the general fund. I think that would cover a lot of the costs for the new vehicle if we were to go that way. Which would also help is, as much as you probably don't want to think, that's also a selling point when you can say, hey, you know, we're offering you a full-time position, we have new equipment, we have some of the more state-of-the-art nice things in the vehicles, and I think it'll all help as a whole package to get us on par with the rest of the villages and communities around here. So, something to look into, and everything's attached. I put the specs from the old vehicle, specs from the new vehicle to compare if you like, and the quote.
No, that's what I was asking her, she said no.
I think that's all I have. Sorry, I wasn't here for 2 months, so again, I just bombarded you with everything at once.
That's fine. At least we're going in the right direction again, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you got any questions for Brandon?
Well, I think we need to review, you know, our options and
well,
move
sure.
forward, figure that done. I think, we'll take that under advisement for the vehicle, like, so I think it's only been like 3 years, or it's been 4 years, 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think 3 years since we bought the car, so we'll have to look at that and see where we're at. I'm not sure if that's what I paid for it. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I think what concerns me most is, I mean, I understand that the reason for buying that, it was probably a good deal or whatnot, but
yeah,
when it comes to police vehicles, you really got to, I have, in the city of Fostoria, I drive a civilian model vehicle as my police car, and if you run hot somewhere and you go to stop, you're gonna be going in reverse trying to get back to where you're originally gonna go, because they don't have the brakes and things
Right.
like that, and the charging systems and whatnot, so. Just something to look into.
hopefully we don't have enough streets long enough to get that kind of speed.
Well, a lot of times, you know, being out in the rural areas, we back up the county and things like that.
Yeah.
I know officers in the past have ran to Green Springs and everywhere else, and
Yeah.
those villages come assist us as well.
Right, we understand.
And also, that vehicle has a sunroof, which kind of concerns me, because if it were to have an impact or something, it's not nearly as safe as a vehicle that's constructed for police pursuit rated, what they call bigger wheels, bigger brakes, things like that.
Roll cage, that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's it, and for that, we'll go on fire. Steve?
Had 9 calls for the month. Yearly total is 86 calls. Had a meeting with ISO to review the fire department. We will know the beginning of next year when we receive the report of our classification. And Kurt from Howell Rescue will be here October 21st with the new Jaws of Life for the department to train on. The department has started the 36 FFV class with 1 new member taking the class. Reinspection has been done for training burning buildings. hopefully we will get the permit to get some training in before December. They'll let the council know the dates when they set the fires. Congrats to CJ Smalley for passing his EMR class. He just started, I believe.
Any questions?
I got one thing for fire.
Okay, go ahead.
We had spoke before about putting a drain or something across the front of the station. Jim would still like to follow through with that if we can. The cost of the trench drain itself is about $860, and then we'd have to get a few bags of Saccharine to fill in. But, we pretty much got a game plan on where we'd like to set it and whatnot, if that's okay with everybody.
I think we need to address that, keep the water out,
You want to keep it away.
keep it away as much as possible, so.
Right now, it's running right in.
Yeah, yeah, we don't wanna be like South Carolina right now, so.
Well, it's not that
Just the
bad.
ice buildup and stuff.
Yeah, it's true, we need
To
to
be
address it.
honest, if we had South Carolina, I don't think the trench would help.
No,
Probably not.
no. So everybody's okay with,
Yeah,
Yep.
he's got the money in his lands and buildings
Right.
account, so.
I think we just go ahead and address and get it done before things take over.
Okay. Clean up, Joyce?
I didn't send anything out this month. There's 2 on my list though to revisit, okay? I mean, they cleaned up, but then they've left it go again, okay? So I've gotta go back and make sure that they, I don't know why, I don't know why it should take a policeman to make you mow your grass. Would somebody give me an answer, please? I just don't understand it, so.
Yeah, Joyce,
Okay.
you know, whenever one person, which I know you know who I'm talking about, that we were mowing the neighbors, well, he said that Dan can mow the neighbors, but he doesn't tell Dan whose property he can mow, that he owns. You know, once he had us serve this, you know, we don't go on any of his property. Okay, I did call the health department, you know, with the smell and stuff, and they said that they can't condemn a garage, you know? So really, you know, you're back to square one. And like I said, you know, the dog was barking all last night, supposed to have a shock collar, so, I don't, you know, why doesn't the guy just take the dog to his house?
Well,
I do
We're
want to
gonna keep
answer
it-
this.
yeah.
I mean, I've talked to Brandon, I've called the Humane Society 3 times, I've called the dog warden, okay. This dog is a dangerous dog. And I don't think he knows yet that he can get out of there. He's a big old white pit, and when you go by that alley, he hits that garage door like this, you know. And if he would ever get out, he won't kill a child, he probably could kill an adult.
Yes.
But they said there's nothing they can do because he has a roof over his head and a bowl of water, you know, so I just informed them that if he does hurt somebody, it's on them. I mean, you know, plus the guy that owns the dog, which he says he doesn't own, that somebody left it there, but
No,
I know the
someone
dog
else
you're
said,
talking about,
it's his dog.
and it used to be loose all the time. I mean, the dog's gentle, in all
I'm
honesty.
sure he is, but you
The dog
can't
is
shut a
gentle.
dog up like that,
Right.
like, you know, and then keep him in the dark all the time.
Exactly.
They're a social animal.
Yeah,
you know.
I think when he barks at night, I think he's scared of the bark. I
He's
really
pretty
do.
afraid, yeah.
I really do.
But he doesn't know his own strength, I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
you know.
and it was left there, I do know that. So,
He did try to get out of there, the neighbor kids I seen yesterday, the neighbor kid went up to the door, and the dog was like looking, and he was looking him, and he went to turn around, and he tried to jump out.
Yeah. But they did tell him he had to fix that screen, and he hasn't yet, so we might have to give him a ticket for that, so maybe that'll wake him up a little bit, I don't know. But we'll see,
Nick Brandon did those.
okay?
Okay. Anything else, Joyce?
No, that's it.
Okay, Water Street, Sewer Street, John?
Been working on getting stuff cleaned up out here by the chip pile. Got the school signs up, paving's done until next year, we'll have to review everything again next year, obviously. The Rita subpoena program happened, the 24th. And out of the 80-some subpoenas they sent out, 6 people showed up. So, I need to get in contact with Rita and see if they can send a representative to one of our meetings and explain to us what we can do.
I had heard, one comment was, when this first started, didn't they send out like quarterly or whatever, things, you know, where you could pay by the quarter instead of the end of the year? They said now that they haven't been receiving any notices from lately, and I think that's one of the main things too
Well,
that needs to be
maybe we do
addressed.
need to get somebody in
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I mean, cause we're paying them.
You know, Rita's supposed to be taking care of that, I mean, that was her
Absolutely.
function, so.
Yeah, okay. So, okay.
Joyce,
Yeah.
I think you have to request Rita to send you a quarterly statement.
Oh, okay, okay,
And if you request it, then they will do it.
okay. Well, I
That's
guess
what
I'll
we
just
did.
call the guy tomorrow and see,
Yeah.
okay,
Probably need to send letters to all those people then at least, right?
yeah,
What their options are, so they understand what the rules are.
yeah.
Do you have to do it quarterly, or can you, I do it at the end of the year?
Well, it all depends on, you know,
You
if
can do it either way,
you can do
yeah.
it any way you want, but a lot of people that have to spend a lot, you know, it would be a lot at the end of
Cause
the
I
year.
go
you
and
know.
pay mine right in Fremont down
Yeah,
there.
well, I'm saying though, but if you make, well, I'll just throw it out, say if you made $75,000 a year, you wouldn't wanna pay that tax April 15th, you'd wanna pay it, I don't know anybody either that makes that much, I'm just saying that.
That'd
But,
be in heaven.
you know, if they paid it quarterly, it'd only be just a little bit each time where, you know, I'm just trying to throw that out, okay? All right, I'll call the guy.
Go ahead on Rita then.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, public information. Some of you are aware that we received an anonymous email for some information. And, that was sent, and they sent us a money order for $10 to cover the cost. The problem is it's not even close to the $10, and we can't refund a check in the name of anonymous. So, this person was emailed back with the exact cost, and told them that when we got the funds from for the exact cost, we would mail the information along with the $10 money order that we received. And the last email that was sent was on 9/16, and we still have received nothing. So I'm not real sure what to do with, I mean, if they don't want the information anymore, I guess that's fine, but I don't know what to do with the $10 money order.
What was the exact cost?
69 cents, I think. And that was all emailed back to them. So,
What information do you want?
they wanted job descriptions and is that it? So basically, it was just a copy of an ordinance that they would be receiving for Rick's position. And I've never heard anything back.
I think it's important too to understand that, you know, you have a reasonable time to respond to a request like that. It's not something that somebody sends an email and then you've got to send it back to them within 30 seconds or a day or 3 days. I mean, you have to have reasonable time, and if there is a cost involved, that cost has to be, you know, paid up front, because, I mean, there's a cost of processing the paperwork or something, send that information out to the public. Even though we have the sunshine laws, I mean, there's a procedure for doing that, right?
But do we have to respond to anonymous?
Yes.
Do we?
Mhm.
Okay.
But now I have a $10 money order, but I don't know what to do with it.
Put it on the wall, see if it'll grow interest.
Yeah, we can't keep it, so.
So-
How much do you need to send it back to them? Did they give an address to send the information to? Just
Yeah,
send
your
them the
PO
money?
Your
box.
PO box, yeah,
It's not my P.O. box.
P.O. Box
142.
That's not my P.O. box.
Beeler Poe Enterprises, I'm sorry.
I know
It's
who
your
sent
PO
that.
box.
I know who sent that.
Yeah,
Why don't you just mail it back? But you need, what, 45 cents to cover the stamp? That'd solve everything, wouldn't it?
What is Beeler Poe LLC?
What's that got to do with anything here?
I'm asking, what is it?
Nothing to do with council.
Really?
That's
They
what-
pay their taxes, all right?
What's that got to do with what
We're
we're
on
talking
Rita
about?
right now.
No, we're not.
We are.
I'm not gonna disclose my private information when it's not anything to do with council.
John, it's a money order, and you
Understood.
have an address.
P.O. Box 142.
No, not
Send
really.
send it to that address.
I don't believe it has anything to do with council or you.
It might,
No?
But
If it
make
does,
sure
you
it's
let me
noted
know.
I would.
I
that
don't
it's
think
returned
so.
to that address. If we get a motion to send that back to that address and just get council approval so it's on the record.
I'll make a motion to send the letter, or the money order back to that address, and then, you know, I think being anonymous is a tough call to,
Chicken soup.
yeah,
Occupant, whatever.
yeah.
I'll second it.
Was that Steve? Who's
No,
second?
Bill.
Bill, sorry. Scott,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
I'd probably advise abstaining. That's up to you.
What's that?
I'd probably advise abstaining on the vote, but that's up to you.
No, I'll stick with yes.
So Mr. Flue, you're saying just note that we tried to contact them and they didn't respond?
Yeah, and the issue is it's only a little bit of money, and we've got a $10 money order.
Right.
So we're returning the money order there. We get a little bit of money from whatever, we hand it to whomever. That's the copy charge, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, it's the copy charge and the postage.
Okay. Anything else on that? Okay. Next part, don't have a lot to say about it, but I think there's some rumors out there and stuff thinking that we wanting to sell it and we wanting to do this and that. The whole thing about getting a quote on it or the appraisal on the park and stuff like that, we are going to do everything we can to save the park, but we're gonna do every means and have everything checked out before we make any rash decisions or anything else like that. This is just one step towards the park, that it's an option. So, I don't know, there's people saying all kinds of things, that we're gonna sell it in that. First off, it'll be on the ballot if it comes to that. So it will not just be our decision, we're letting the people of Bettsville decide what to do with it. And we're doing all these options because since 2009, the park has lost money every month, or every year. And so, at that rate, if any of you at home had stocks or had anything that you lost money for that long a time, I don't think you'd want to keep it either. But I'm not saying that we will sell it. I'm saying that we're looking at every option we got to try to do whatever we can do with the park. There's nothing said, and like I say, the people will decide that. We will not decide that. It'll be put on the ballot and you'll vote on it. If it comes up to that we want to sell it.
Wasn't the sale discussed at the last meeting? I watched the video
Yes,
of it.
We
We've been
said we
talking
was
about
gonna
this.
get an appraisal on it. It was not about selling it. It's just one of the options that we have to go by. We have to try them all.
And Stan, we've been talking about this for a year. Haven't you been listening to any of this? I mean, we've discussed the park business for months and months and months, what we're gonna do, you know? And then we got all these people jumping all over us, you know, telling us we're awful people.
Well, the video of the meeting that I watched, selling it was discussed, and never once heard the word lease. leasing it rather than
All
selling it.
right, just listen here. Now, a person, if you want a person to lease, okay, it's gonna be $100,000 just for the dump station and the campground or whatever, 65, 70,000 for a shower room. Do you think a person would lease it and have to spend that kind of money and not own it?
I have a,
Stop and think about it.
I have a solution if I could just step in here and introduce myself and just a fresh opinion on the park or whatever it is. My name is Dane Jesse. I'm from Port Clinton. I visited the park. I just recently learned it was closed down. But I've visited the park a number of times and it's a beautiful place. A little bit of my background is I've always been a hard worker like many of you. Since I've been a little kid, I worked so hard that, I just had a back fusion because I worked so hard, doing construction work and stuff. Like I said, I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. I'm community oriented. After the Marine Corps, I got out and got my CDL. And when I got hurt, it's actually given me a lot of time to sit around and think of it. A lot of things I want personally. So this idea that it's a vague idea. I can't give you details right now, but I do have, eventually I have some figures. But it's vague and it's more of, if something's gonna work for that park and you guys wanna keep it, there are definitely options. But you have to think of some outside of the box, outside of the thinking ways of negotiating a deal or terms of a contract. Or, like you said, you have to get through the community. What does the community right now wanna see at the park? What's the general consensus? Just something to keep it around in the community, or, does anybody, what's the general?
Campground.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is a campground, or does anybody, any other ideas of, or is it just, we need to find something to do, we're willing to listen to all the options, and let's make an educated decision and try to save this thing for the community, because I have plenty of options of different
Well, I
things we
think
could
before
do.
we get totally get out of control here, I think
Yeah.
it's important that we understand kind of where we're at. I
Yes.
mean, I had a meeting with the township beginning of the month, I wanted to talk to Tim, we had to figure out kind of what the park really is and what some of the agreements were. Previous administrations also what the deal was when basically signed it over for $1. Some of that property belongs to township, not all that property belongs to the
Okay.
park.
Okay, so that's all organizing you guys have to do?
Well, there's a lot more involved in that,
Mhm.
there's tax structure, there's an issue, we gotta work with making the park continuous to the Village of Bettsville, we gotta resolve those issues, that's something that we need to talk to Rick about. And it's important to understand that we look at all the options and let's go put it in a forum.
Yes.
We've seen Stan's vision, video, all these other things,
Yeah.
it's,
There's
there's nothing wrong with having a vision.
Yeah, there's always gonna be people have a vision.
But there's
With
a
a
cost
place,
involved.
with the place like a park though, no matter what you do, if it's a campground, or if it's a water park or something like that, the owner or the runners, or whoever's gonna own it, whoever's gonna run this business, they have to have a passion behind it, honestly, because a lot of businesses fail just because they don't have a passion. What's the park doing currently? Like I said, I'm not insulting anybody, I'm just getting a general, so everybody's, what's the park doing currently? Is it just nothing right now? And it's just sitting there,
They
Craig?
go
What if
out-
I told you?
They go out there, they have picnics, we rent
Yeah.
the shower
What if I
houses
told
and-
you, before I get into,
Well, we're not gonna, I hope it's not a long, lengthy one, but go ahead.
I think, another thing, you should just ask the Bettsville people.
Yes.
Okay, all right. They want swimming, they want all this stuff, but they do not support it. The Bettsville people do not go out there. I could probably count on this many fingers, how many people from Bettsville go out there, but if we say anything about doing anything, then everybody's all up in arms. I was out there, I think I've told you guys this before, I was out there the 4th of July, okay? They wanted swimming. We opened it up for swimming, it cost us a bunch of bucks. I was there from 12 to 4 on swimming duty. Not one Bettsville person went through that gate.
Right.
Not one. And
that's
the
a big thing.
fireworks, okay, we have fireworks that we pay for every year, okay? How many people from Bettsville paid their $5 to come and see that? No, you sit down here at the firehouse and watched it. This is what makes me angry. is
what
because-
if you had somebody like me? Because when I look around in here, I don't see, and it's not being rude, but I don't see a lot of youth around my age.
Youth don't go out there and swim, they play on their video games all day
That's what I'm
long.
saying. Somebody like me comes in, because you gotta realize if you get a business at this quarry, you might just get a business. They don't care about community, anything, they're about the bottom dollar. If we would happen to do business, and once I put this whole idea forward, and you guys are all about it, I'm the type of person, I wanna be involved in the community. I wanna make a difference. I read on your guys' Facebook page that you guys have kids or vandals messing up stuff. I wanna be that person that if we work together as a community to save this park, like I said, I'm from Port Clinton, but running what I wanna run, the business venture that I would wanna run, it's a passion. Like I said, it's gonna happen somewhere. And it might take me two or three more years to get it where I want it, but this is a perfect spot for it, I'm telling you right now. I've had to just scramble and get some things together. This is a perfect spot for it. I think you guys are sitting on a gold mine.
I got a
Okay.
question here, a legal question.
Yes.
This is a public entity,
Mm-hmm.
this property.
Mm-hmm.
What's ramifications on our liability and our exposure to leasing that property or whatever, if we own property? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if a municipality is leasing property, part of the contract would be that the other parties obviously going to want to have insurance on that, everything else.
Now, as you know,
So,
what if leasing?
I'm on a legal opinion. Because, you know, I'm open to all this stuff, but
Uh-huh.
the problem you gotta understand is that we're
We're
not for profit.
We're not this
No,
far.
We're not for
No,
profit.
no, no,
Please.
I am trying to do this. One, he just talked about $76,000 for a police vehicle and
Well,
a
that's
full-time
a
staff.
different issue.
No, what I'm saying is, all I'm trying to do is push forward to an idea of something that could be very, very profitable for the city. It's not for profit, it's not gonna change. It will still have your swimming. It'll do some things, but it has to be run in an outside-the-box way to get people to wanna come to Bettsville. Why do people wanna come to Bettsville? Because they have this amazing quarry that does these amazing things, and they have an amazing leadership that lets them do these things. They work along with this city to get ordinances and laws and everything passed to save a place like this. Otherwise, you're gonna end up selling it to somebody privately who might never end up doing something with it. I mean, unless you guys just keep eating the cost. Like I said, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place, and I'm telling you right now, I have an idea, and I have the passion to follow this idea. Like I said, it could benefit Bettsville, it may not benefit Bettsville if you guys don't go along with it, but if you guys don't lead, if you guys don't take a step, and you guys don't step off and say, hey, we need to do something
Okay,
different.
it's okay to have your vision, but the other thing is, do you have the resources to make this thing happen? Because that's a big thing.
See, listen, hold on. Okay, this is what I'm saying. I'm coming here with an amazing, there's this vision, and there are funds behind, there is everything. I didn't come here with a piece of paper. I might look young, but I didn't come here with a piece of paper and just said, here, look at these magic numbers. I have, at my house on my computer, I have a thought-out business plan, a business model, and it has every single month for the year. I can't say it because I want to sign a confidentiality agreement in a month after you guys' elections are over, and I'll lay the whole plan online. What I brought here today was a general feeler, but this is just a little short 3-page, I didn't know how many people's here, so it's a couple things. It just get yourself to ask you some questions.
Okay, so we can have this, but we need to understand our legal position before we can do any of that.
And this is something that you guys can go ahead and look over. It just has a potential profit in 3 years
Okay,
to be using that every year.
okay.
Depending on the way you guys structured the deal. You got, like you said, so much of the township, so much, we can figure out all this information, right? We can all figure it out, and we can all sit down as a community, as the council, we can sit down and say, you know what? He says it's gonna cost this much to get this thing up and running again. Do we wanna sell it? Do we wanna give up, do we wanna become a minority owner? Do we wanna sell it outright for a certain amount of yearly, a percentage of the profit yearly? Where the city has, or the village isn't technically owning it, but they sold it for a cheap price, so somebody could get something started there for a certain percentage of profits every year. And I'm telling you right now, when you see $200,000, I'm not kidding you. In 10 years, I plan on making $10 million a year off this venture. I just think right now that I'm gonna have to wait a couple years. This place is that place that could have it if you guys work together as a community and you guys put your trust in something. Like I said, how many people are gonna come out of here out of the random blue and pitch you this stuff and put all the time and effort? For anybody that's here, that's on the council or ran their own business, they know time and effort into little stuff like this. It looks nice and neat now, it's whatever it is. But this took, that's what I'm saying. So everybody knows that something like this has been well thought out.
But what's this,
I can't,
some idea?
no. I'm giving you what I'm coming here for is enthusiasm and seeing if you guys are here to do a community. If the numbers look good to you, if just the numbers alone, without even understand what the business is, If it looks good to you and there's a way to get it done where people could still swim, we turn it into something amazing, I will lay this all out in line after the election. But I wanted to come here.
What's the election got to do with it?
Well, after you guys are all, because everybody's, I don't know, I'm not sure. I just want you guys
Why
to
did
be.
you say that? I mean, why not lay it out, you know?
Give some idea.
I mean,
No,
what's
the-
the election got to do with
The
anything?
reason I wanted you guys to make sure you guys are all not doing your campaign, or I don't know how you guys run your city council and how much you guys actually get into it. I didn't want to be bothersome the month before you guys elected whoever's going to be your elected officials. But yes, after the election, I would say that would be a great time to sit everybody down, and we can have, literally, what I'm looking for is, if we sat in here, whatever, we'll toss ideas back and forth of what can work, what can't work, and if something happens, if we can make a deal, let's sit for 8 hours and talk it out, as people used to, instead of, we can write down what we want out of the park, and put it all in a contract of how we want to do it, and then type it all out, reread it, submit it to lawyers and stuff. But for something to work there, if something to work there, I'm gonna need plenty of time to advertise it the way I'm going to need to advertise it. But
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, okay, wait.
Whoa, Dan, no.
Okay, this is it. So, okay, we had your spiel, here's the deal.
Mhm.
I mean, first we gotta resolve some other legal issues and stuff in the park.
Yeah.
This hasn't been resolved yet. So, that stuff has to be taken care of first. Like I said, I just had a meeting with the township trustee, I haven't had a chance to talk to the council about it, so, whatever happens in the election, happens in the election, it is what it is.
yeah, I'm not worried about, I'm just for you guys to be
So,
done with your
At
election.
the end of the day, we're gonna do with data and facts, okay? So we're gonna put everything on the table, we're gonna look at the plus and minus of all these things, and what the costs are, because,
Yeah.
just so you understand, this is what I do for a living, I build facilities, okay, I understand what costs are.
Yeah.
So, you know,
But I understand that, this is what I understand there's a market that's untapped, that if you guys,
market's on tap,
Huh?
but there's gotta be a resource and.
there is, and like I said, you're looking for, see, this is the difference between me and you, my glass is like 3/4 of 90% of the way full, and you're trying to tell me about all the legal things instead of sitting here and going, you know, we know there's legal issues. I love what you're saying, is all I'm saying.
I think you're assuming something wrong.
No.
You're thinking that I'm not positive and looking at all the options. I've been looking at all these options for a long time, and this is one part of it. So, the thing is, I look at facts because at the end of the day, it's gonna cost the community something.
I know 5,000 people that go to parks just like that.
Yeah, I do too.
They go to parks just like that without any kind of electric or anything, and they pay $120 a camp a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and that's for people without, you're not
But the
investing.
property has to be leased in order to do that,
Yes,
because
but we can work.
we as the village
Yes,
cannot get involved.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm not trying to get a deal done today. What I'm trying to do is, I am trying to rally the community, and they wanna work together on a deal. If not, like I said, I'm just trying, it's one
But first off.
more, idea.
Just
So-
so you understand,
Mhm.
it's not just with councilors, like Gary had a good point. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put a plan together, we're gonna present it to the village, let them vote and see what they want.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we're just stewards. We don't own it, it's not our property, I can't make a decision on it, it's the community's property. At the end of the day, if they wanna support it, they wanna move forward with it, if Randy has a plan, that's their prerogative. At the end of the day, I'm the gatekeeper right now, looking at the finances, what we can do, what cost us, and how we're gonna approach things. So first off, we got some legal issues we gotta resolve, we gotta look at how we're gonna either annex it in or whatever. Again, I talked to Tim, there's some legal issues, there's some sidewalk issues, there's road issues, all kinds of things that have to be addressed, there's some ordinances that we have to look into. So there's a lot of things I found out, so we have to get all the data out there to make an informed decision before we move forward.
And we'd be glad to hear you when the time comes.
Yeah.
But we think.
Do you
it's
guys
right
have an
now.
idea of when you're doing all that? I mean, is it gonna be?
The process started now, and the problem is, it's gonna take a while to do some discovery. We have to do some discovery, figure out what some stuff was done in the past, because you gotta remember, when this park was passed on with a dollar buy thing years ago with other administrations, we wasn't part of those proceedings, so we don't know exactly what said was, what promised. There's some issues, the fire department was gonna be out there, there's all kinds of things that was going on at the time. So we have to work through all that stuff.
Okay.
And like I said, I just did this discovery beginning of the month, or last month, figure out what was going on, just kind of figure out what the township's legal position was, where our position is. We got an issue with 75-foot right away, we got to resolve. There's a lot of things that have to be taken care of. So that's what I'm saying, we're not in a position.
Yeah, it's understandable, but what I'm asking you is, if you were gonna do something, and whatever it was, if it was camping, or if it was a water park, or whatever it is, are you gonna wait, like, what I'm saying is, you have to get advertisement out there. You have to,
Well,
you have to out advertise that.
We're trying to
Yeah, but
tell
see-
you we can't do this until we do all the legal work.
That's why
I mean,
I'm-
you wanna
no, no,
jump
no.
in right now and
No,
tell
no,
us.
no. No, I'm not trying to jump, I'm trying to bring a different
Well,
approach,
we-
like
We
an
understand what you're
enthusiasm,
doing,
yes.
We're
and
understanding
we
that.
want the
Yes.
same thing that you
Yes.
want, we really do. But we've got a lot of other stuff that
There are
comes
issues
before
and
this,
stuff
we
to
got,
do.
we
And
don't,
like I say, the people's gonna make the decision.
That's right. So I think it's important that the community as a whole, because this never really gets out there. I mean, we've been thinking about this, and there's a financial cost. We've got 2 more years, I think it is, I think 2017, we're done with, what, $9,400, $9,600, whatever the number is. And then basically there's no money for the park. And right now, that $9,000 a month, a year, basically covers the mowing expense, repairing the mowers, gas, that kind of stuff. And here's something people need to understand. For the amount of money that we have spent on lifeguards, we fixed 4 roads in the community. So you gotta look at what is the biggest bang for the buck and what's gonna help the community the most. So we all.
What were you guys paying for liability there? Do you remember what it
Well,
used to
comes
be,
in-
or?
The liability comes under the envelope, umbrella of the
I got it.
municipality.
$1
So I-
million,
Yes.
$1.5 million or something like that.
No, not the cost, but
No.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but I mean the cost.
Yeah, so I don't remember the numbers, I have to go back and look if that's what you want, but, you know, at the end of the day, you have to solve some of the other issues up front. We have to see what the community wants to do, because we're just stewards, we don't
Yeah.
own the park.
That's exactly why I was asking if you guys knew what the community, if you guys had a general idea what they wanted
Well,
there.
if you look at the way it was in the past, there's no involvement from the community by
Okay.
far. I mean, if you look at the last 5 to 6 years, it's
So
not
if there's
mentioned.
no involvement in the community, what you're saying is ultimately, you guys are gonna be what stops it or starts it or whatever the case is to try to save the park. Because I'm with you guys, I believe that it can be saved and you guys can retain 100%
Well,
ownership.
but here's
you know.
the part you're missing too. You've got to look at Seneca County, they have the same issue with their park systems. We've communicated with the county, they have the same issues, they don't have the resources for it. And they're in the same position, so, you know,
Like I said, if you got, once you figure out the issues, all I'm offering is one more way, but not just a way. It's a life passion that would be, like I said, I'm gonna do it somewhere. But to have somebody run it like that, as a passion, counts a lot more than just somebody
Well,
who thinks they can do it, because then they don't understand what you're actually trying
At
to.
the end of the day-
And I'm talking about growing something that would be amazing, you know, and when I say amazing, I really do mean in every sense of the words. I wholeheartedly mean everything
well,
I'm
at the
saying
end of the day,
here,
you got to
so.
put together your business plan.
Yeah.
And how you're gonna finance, but all that stuff, so it's gotta be,
Got
make sense.
together, is what I'm
Well-
telling you. I already got together, is why I'm saying I'm so confident coming in here,
Well,
that these
you might-
numbers
you might
aren't
be
on the
confident-
light end,
You
is
might
what
be
I'm telling you.
confident, but at the end of the day, it has to pass the litmus test to make sure it's gonna work. For the community.
Yeah, no doubt, you know, expenses, that's the whole thing,
So, I
and
mean,
every little
it's
one that you can.
great
just like
coming
any other business
and
convention.
do this, but right now, we're not at that stage.
Okay.
I mean, we gotta get our
But I
other
was bringing
stuff
up to
worked
let you
out.
guys know that, hey, there is somebody
But
here
I
who thinks
mean-
you have something amazing waiting.
Leave your
Yeah, so-
name, number, and everything with Angela,
Yep.
and I mean, we'll definitely get a hold of them.
Okay.
Like I said,
Like I said,
we're trying to
I
do
will-
everything we can.
The next Tuesday, after, like I said, I was waiting for your, because I didn't know how you guys ran your elections, if it was a
Well,
big
at the end of
heated
the day-
race or whatever. I just wanted to make sure all the electoral stuff was out of
Well,
it.
at the end of the day, when the elections, when the dust settles on elections, and we'll see where we're at with that, that's a whole different issue. That has nothing to do with the
No,
park.
but no, I'm saying the death cells for the elections, so I can come back and you guys aren't thinking about elections at all, and I'm
You
gonna
got- you
introduce
gotta
this
remember-
project. You keep cutting me off, but I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you that, what I'm telling you
I
is
know what you're saying, but
you
at the end of the
think,
day-
just like you said, you assumed.
No, I
You-
don't.
No, you assumed, I said I was waiting to done for the election, you said it's a whole different issue. What I'm saying is I'm waiting to be done with the elections, so nobody is thinking about elections, so we can say, one meeting, I'm gonna bring this package to you, and we'll sign confidentiality agreements or something. That's the reason I'm saying, because,
You can't, if
These-
you meet with all of them, it has to be a public forum.
okay, well, then we can do that. I'm trying to figure out the process. If we can't do it that way, that's fine. I'm looking for as much help as you guys are looking for, you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to be fought right now, and I'm just letting you know that I have nothing but the highest expectations, one for myself, but what this place could be. And what I'm telling you is, it can't hurt to have me on your side.
Well, we're not.
No, we're not questioning that one bit.
But you
No,
gotta,
yeah, and I'm gonna be assertive,
But
you
I
know,
think
like I
you're just
said.
here just a little too early right now.
yeah, but you gotta remember, this is a public entity. We're not a private corporation.
Okay, no, yeah.
You understand that,
Mhm.
so it all goes back to sunshine, open.
Yep.
Everything's gotta be out and open, you
Yep.
know, we can't.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, I wanna make,
Yeah, so-
if I agree to something in a handshake deal, and we're talking about, and we say that's what it's, that's what I would like it to be, in whatever,
Well, that's-
whatever reasonable
No,
ways. Huh?
everything will be out in the open, I mean.
No, I'm saying a handshake deal, like, yes, we're gonna shake out in the open, and say, this is exactly, it's gonna be so, I am shooting for transparency, so there is none of this, it's in the ghost dark stuff like that.
That's right.
That's why I say, I meant handshake as like, hey, handshake, let's put it in legal documents, but handshake saying, my word It's just like everybody always says, they take their word for what their word is, they
Okay,
can't
so
take
what
for what
what
their
we're gonna
hands
do,
say.
what we're gonna do, we'll contact you once we get the legalities and stuff resolved, because there's a lot of issues with the township and all this stuff that we have to deal with first.
And all I'm saying to you guys is, if you guys take some time and do that, and make that a priority and get it, so you can have all winter to advertise, because that's what it's gonna take. You know, that's what I'm saying, I wanna get it, just come in here, get it out and open and see, you know, like I
So
said.
just remember, just so you understand, is you're dealing with public entities, so we're dealing with the township, we got legal issues with the property, all that stuff has to be taken care of first, and when you're working with any kind of legal challenges, nothing's fast, okay? So I don't want anybody to be misunderstand how fast this is gonna happen. It takes time to resolve all those technical issues.
And what I'm saying is, if you put your best foot forward though,
Yes.
and you call that day instead of waiting 2 days, it goes a little faster. Is all I'm saying, let's work together as a community. Can everybody at least agree on that basis?
And
Let's work
it would
together.
have to be put to a vote.
Okay.
And if it's put to a vote, you're looking at advertisement next winter, not this one.
Okay, well, that's fine, whatever we can do, if it makes sense in the end, let's do it together as a community is my first priority. Let's do it together as a community and figure it out together.
Dean, I don't know if I speak for anybody else, but I appreciate your passion and your coming here tonight, so thank you very much.
No problem, no problem. Like I said, I'm just trying to, you know, I just, in my opinion, this would be a perfect place for it. And that's why I'm so passionate, because it's gonna have, like I said, but, you know, that's why I wanted to come here and at least introduce myself and, you know, give it a shot anyways and say, hey, I got some information, I'll come back next month with something better.
There's nothing wrong with
So-
being passionate, but at the end of the day,
that's great.
we gotta resolve the other issues too.
Exactly, yeah, let's just work together.
When
Thank you
we're
very
ready-
much for your
yeah,
time,
when we're
thanks.
ready, but make sure you give her your telephone number and everything,
Yep.
okay?
Okay.
Thanks for coming. Okay.
So I guess I didn't really have a chance to resolve what that was, that I talked to Tim, basically, there's some issues, basically, they own the sidewalk right away and all that stuff around the park there, that's gonna be township property. So everybody understands the sidewalk and all that stuff, because
That's the right of way.
that's their right of way, well, no, it's not their right of way.
They own it.
They own the ground,
Okay.
they bought the ground for $1 from Basic. Because the agreement was that when they put that sidewalk in there, the asphalt and all that stuff, from the park to the village property, the only way George Lynch said, made an agreement that they would buy that for $1, so that's the only way they would pay for that, the township would pay for that. And then Tim's has concern because we have issues with the road right away because they're.
For their tax dollars.
For their tax dollars and plus for the grant, we have to apply for.
Oh, for the highway
Highway funds,
assistance
for
and
the
that.
grants, some assistance like that, it all comes off the linear footage of the road, so that's another issue that's Tim's,
Mhm.
you know, passionate about, so what I'm saying is there's gonna be some challenges here, so I guess I need to have Rick look into then resolving the 75-foot right-of-way first, and try to get so the park is continuous, and then we have to figure out if we wanna annex it in and fight that battle, because it's gonna be a battle, because I can tell you right now, Tim's passionate about it, so he's not gonna wanna give up the property, the tax base. So that's gonna be an issue that we'll have to resolve too, so that's gonna be an issue that we have to look at as a legal issue and then how we approach that as well. So that's something we need to talk about, at least get out in public forum, so everybody understands there's those entity issues that we have to resolve.
What's the 75-foot right-of-way you're talking about?
Well, it's not a right of way, they actually own the property, they bought the ground,
So they
it's not
own-
the right of way,
Oh, I thought you said right-of-way.
no.
No, that's the one that we're
He
supposed to
said-
be getting,
no.
the,
Yeah, for the property.
they're gonna give us
It's not a
the
right of way,
property.
The property.
Okay, I'm looking at Ohio Revised Code, section 709.13, annexation of territory for the action of inhabitants generally.
Well, before you get into that, we need that piece of property first before we can even talk
That's right.
about annexation.
Yeah, we're not talking about
Except
annexation.
we need that.
And that's part of this, it has to be next to it.
It is.
It is.
It is, so we,
I'm next to the village.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
it is.
So you're saying the park is now
No,
connected to the
No,
village?
75-foot.
We got a 75-foot leeway that they wanna give us the property for, that we have to get into our names and stuff, and then everything's continuing on that, so that,
so we gotta resolve that issue first.
Basic
Well, I mean, so
incorporated.
you're saying somebody wishes to give us some property?
Right.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
fine.
yes.
And if somebody gives us the property, and
After,
then we can, obviously, if it's ours and it's next to the village, we can annex that. But if we end up selling the property, then that's another issue.
Right.
And so I guess I'm gonna need specific questions that you
Well,
may
when we get- yeah.
have, not just generalities being
Right.
thrown around, but it's obvious You can annex property next to you, and if you annex another one next to that, that's great too. But if you end up selling the property, then that has issues in regards to the township and their tax base and everything else, and there's a difference
That's what I want to
between
resolve.
something that is voluntary versus involuntary.
But our first step is gonna be get that piece of property.
So
So
is
that
somebody
we're-
giving it to us?
Yes.
Yes,
So all I need is, if they're gonna give it to us, all I wanna see is a copy of the deed, and I can do a quick claim deed.
Okay,
And usually,
That's
you know,
right.
for $1 or something like that. But just understand, if in all your planning and everything else, that part should not be sold later on. Because that can create issues in regards to the annexation under
Right.
the ORC,
right,
okay?
right.
So just give me a quick claim deed, and if they say they want to, I'll just draft a quick claim deed and.
There's an
for
issue,
$1 or something like that, and.
there's an issue annexing it after it's
There's an issue with selling
potentially
it
sold.
after annexation.
After it's annexed.
And also, before that, regarding Mr. Lynch,
Yes,
I mean, usually there's some sort of agreement between a municipality and a township as to what to do about these tax issues. We don't have that yet.
that's what I'm saying.
So we can take the property anytime, but before we annex it, we want to talk to the township about an agreement regarding
Well,
these
that's
issues.
why I
that's what we're saying.
Okay, this-
We need that first.
Yeah,
This strip of land now, this sidewalk and stuff, you said that the township owns.
yes.
What kind of tax money would they get off of that?
Well, they're not really getting any tax money, they don't get any tax money off now because there's no income off the property, so there's no tax base coming to the township right now, as Tim tells me. So the only issue is that they own the property, because that's part of their agreement, when they put the sidewalk in, George Lynch wanted to make sure that they owned that property before they spent the money on putting the sidewalk in, so that's why they bought it for $1. Just like when we bought the park for $1 to town. Also, there was an ordinance written, probably, I'm not, like 10, 14 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, we gotta go do the research, that could always only be used for a park, and they couldn't put like a fire department out there and all those other things, so we have to do some discovery on some of those issues and find out what those are, okay, so, that's what I'm saying.
And what I would like is if you have questions, great, if you have information, great.
Yes,
You know, but
That's
present
why we
them
have,
to
that's
me
why
in
we have to take the
appropriate
baby
order.
steps first.
Yeah.
yeah. So I think, my goal was, I think, first off, to just resolve the right of way, or the 75-foot property, get that, at least get that stuff
Mhm.
resolved. That was
That's
something-
Just
what we
give me a
want.
quick claim deed,
Yeah,
if
so I
someone
think-
wants to give it to the village.
Yeah, so we resolve that issue first, then we can start
we would-
negotiation with the township, let's decide what.
I would also say, if that's for real, then, you know, I would ask for a motion that we accept it in the village. It doesn't mean it's part of the municipality yet, it just means the village owns that property. Okay?
So say that again, what did you say?
Do we need to make a motion?
Make a motion to move forward that part of it?
Well, if you have specifics, and if you do, and if you have somebody who's really gonna give property to the village, that's great. There's no problem with that, is it? Do you have a name?
Well, I think, John, you probably have.
Basic
An
Incorporated.
address, something?
Basic Incorporated is who owns it.
But what is it?
It's
Is it
75 feet.
No, what is that?
an address, is there an address to the property? I mean, if you're gonna put this in a motion.
We don't have enough to do a motion yet.
Okay.
Let's get it.
As soon as we
Do
have it,
everything around.
then we just do a motion and,
Right.
you know,
Right,
give me an address or something, because if they don't have their quitclaim deed, I'll find one.
Right. Well, they can actually send me a copy of the deed, correct? And that would have all the information.
Perhaps if they have it in their records, I would think they would, but basics everywhere. I saw them in Pittsburgh.
okay.
So-
I'm gonna ask another question before we move forward too, because I didn't understand. What about the issue with the mound? There's, you know, the mound.
The ash pile.
Ash pile, what do we call it, the line?
That's nothing to do
So
with.
that, is that basic, is that?
Basic still owns that, yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying, so we gotta make sure that somehow that ought to be attached to an entity that we get.
Correct.
So I wanna make sure so that's what I'm saying, so we gotta make sure.
There's not any toxins on this property we're getting, is there? We're not getting something.
Not the
No,
property.
not the property we're getting, no.
Correct. And I'm not sure what they ever found out back there, because the EPA was in there digging a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they were.
I don't think it's really what you would consider toxic, because it's just basically burnt lime, stuff like that, so it's just,
Right.
it's what they do, that's how the EPA destroys their oils and stuff, any of the burn it for the kills, and that's how they destroy it.
But that's not on the property.
That's not a
moving.
problem,
No.
no, so that's why I wanna make sure that was somehow not tied to the property, I just wanna make sure, so.
Right.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want the liability with that.
No.
The way it looked on the maps today is we're cut out around that 75 feet. And that portion must be a separate parcel back there.
Yeah, it was, originally, I investigated it 2 years ago about buying the property, so I know that was a separate entity, so.
And this parcel is next to both the village and the park?
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
It's
yeah,
the only thing separating.
that's the only thing, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we wanna do. We wanna get
yeah.
things in a row before we can even think about doing anything else.
So, I mean, because it's gonna take a while at Discovery to solve all these technical issues, legal issues and stuff that I found out about so far. I'm sure there's gonna be more as we get into this, because there's probably some things that I don't totally understand yet, because I wasn't party to some of those agreements and contracts and stuff that, were done past, so.
Yeah,
So
I don't know what restrictions are on the property.
And so we gotta find all those things out, and then how we solve those issues or whatever, so.
Okay,
So,
well,
I think I beat that to death.
I think you did, so I think we should move on. But no, I mean, that's why it's gotta be out there to the public and everything that we're doing this the way we're doing it, why we are. You can't make no rash decisions.
So I guess the other thing we gotta throw out there is like, to get something on the ballot, it's like that, I mean, we got, what, another year and a half, basically, then we're gonna have to get something on the ballot one way or another, see what the community wants to do.
Well,
right?
I mean, we can put something on the ballot in March if you'd be that far, that close for
Okay.
I thought it was
elections or
May.
November. Well, it could be.
March is the presidential primary, Gary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd have to be May,
May.
and then there's,
Okay.
there's quite an expense to do
Yeah.
that in May for a special election.
So it'd probably be November, for the November.
But I just think we need to start that process of putting that plan together, how we're gonna do that, because it's gonna come by pretty fast.
When does that verbiage have to be in, Rick? The end of
Well, for-
August?
For what?
If they wanted to put something on the ballot about the park?
For next November?
Yeah, it'd be,
By the beginning of August.
I think, like this year, it was August 5th.
If the, whatever is you're talking about to be on the ballot,
Well,
I would need more details.
well, we don't even really know.
If
But,
there's something.
yes, I'm just asking about.
Because the issue comes
deadline.
down to how we approach, do we approach it, try to go through the 04 school district, which we know we might have some challenges there, do we do it just with the village of Betsville? I mean, so there's a lot of things we have to resolve, how we wanna approach putting on the ballot, is that correct, after you're
Well,
saying?
I guess I'm asking, what are you talking about putting on the ballot?
Well, we're gonna try to figure
I
out,
mean, are we talking about
we're figuring out some way how to finance it.
a request for taxes on both Old Fort and Bettsville and the school district area? I mean, it depends on what you want on
Or
the
you,
ballot.
well, yeah, cause
and
you
who
need,
drafts
you
it
need
and
the Old
what
Fort
you
School
have to
District
do.
in it, there ain't enough.
Well, we
So,
can't do that
right
for
now,
Old
we're
Fort.
just,
Uh,
I,
Can't
obviously
do
I
that
need more
until
specifics.
17?
And for
No, you can do it.
some
16.
things, a county prosecutor would write, some things I would write. I guess it depends on what you're talking about. If it's for the village, it's in the village, I write it. If you're talking about some joint request for taxes to keep the tax going with, and forming some sort of park district, well, we'd have to form the park district first, and then we'd have to
That's what I'm
then
saying, we
proceed.
have to understand all
I
that.
don't know what you're talking about, I'm guessing here, but I mean, I'm looking at other options that we
So
can
what you're
all
saying,
look at.
basically like what we did with the
You
ambulance
gotta
system.
figure out what you wanna do.
Okay, so that's what we're saying,
Yeah,
okay, so.
But we can't put on something for Old Fort School District.
no,
No,
no, we
they
can't.
have to do it.
Or the township, either one,
Yeah.
right?
But you
Correct.
can,
Yeah.
but everybody can talk also about a joint park district if you wanted, and proceed that way. Or, I mean, I don't know what you're all talking about. I think that's what you all said.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to figure out.
Well, that's
What our
just
options.
one of the many things that we have to
Yeah.
decide. I mean, it don't seem like it seems like a simple thing, but it really isn't simple. And we got to do
Something.
every angle that we got. Check out, we don't wanna leave any stone unturned. Okay, you wanna give a zoning report now?
Actually, that's the simplest one, there was nothing going on, and nobody yelling at me or screaming at me, so life's good. Pardon, what?
We're glad.
Thank you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nobody put any swimming pools in this week.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're on into old business. We're gonna do a second reading of ordinance 2015-9, which is an ordinance prohibiting barking or howling dogs in the village of Bettsville, Ohio. Which it seems like, that's the title of it, so. But it just gives us something to do if we have complaints. So this will be the second reading of that one. And we have second reading of an ordinance limiting each household to 4 canines within the village of Bettsville, Ohio. And that's also the second reading. And the second reading of 2015-11, which is an ordinance to amend ordinance of the city of village of Bettsville regarding municipal income tax.
And you have in front of you
We
the
have
enhanced Exhibit A.
that's the more
which
up
is-
to date one.
Thank you, which is 49 pages. It's got, it's been updated and reviewed, so.
So it's okay, so this will be the second reading.
Do you need one?
No, I've got one on my computer. I just printed it out. No, you get these.
I have to read it. We'll just leave it for
And we touched a little bit about the income surveys. We're still going around doing them. Please, people, please fill them out and put them in a sealed envelope and give them back to us so that we can give them. We will not open them, they'll go right directly to Roberta, our cap. And we don't care what you make, so this is just something to give us a better bite with our grants that we have, so we can get. It gives us a lower rate, it gives us a better chance. So we have to do that.
Here, do you have one I can take home and fill out?
I
Yeah,
have,
we got them all, yes. Yeah,
Oh, you had to
if anybody needs,
yeah.
Me
You
to
had
help with their
to, you had to
list.
see what she's on the list.
yeah.
The last time I
They-
said I'd do it in the trash.
Okay.
Well, if you got it, well, then you're
Yeah.
probably on the list.
I'm all done with my list, I've got 12 to
That
go
was like
on
last
mine,
year.
and I'm gonna help whoever else needs help, so.
No, it was just.
No, it was just a few months ago.
April.
About 3 months
Oh,
ago.
no, we didn't.
It was
Get it in
April.
the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
So you might see me at your door, Kim. Okay,
You wanna go to the neighbors
get
first?
your coffee on.
Don't look in the windows.
Yeah.
Okay, but it is very,
Just-
very important for this income survey.
No, I wanna go to that officer's house and I wanna look at this one.
Oh, you're probably let me-
Gary, I'm sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
forgot something. There's a fellow in town named Ken Jones. He asked me who he should talk to. He wants to hold an event out at the park. And I don't know if he's still talking yet this fall. There's some sort of a group of people that have a certain kind of dog.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's talked to me.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Yeah, he's talked to me too, and
Oh,
he was supposed to be at council meeting tonight,
Oh,
so,
okay.
and he didn't make it, so I don't know what's going on with it. But I've been talking to him too.
Okay.
Okay. New business, or anybody got any old business to bring up? If not, we'll go on to new business. I would like to have trick or treat night on October 31st, say from 5 to 6:30. That kind of gets in just before it's getting dark. And 31st is Halloween and it is on Saturday.
It's on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
So we think that there wouldn't be no problem of having it. We always have had it for an hour and a half.
You need a motion?
Yeah, we better have a
I'll motion.
I'll second it. Now, is the fire department stuff gonna be, like,
Okay,
passed?
yeah.
Now, there was some rumors about trying to have some kind of a parade or something or whatever.
Well, I think,
That's something else. I'll bring that up here in a minute.
that's fine.
Okay, okay.
Thanks, Steve,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes,
Joyce.
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Okay, so trick or treat night will be October 31st from 5 to 6:30. That's PM, not AM, okay.
Not gonna get much candy about it in the morning.
It was used to be, what, 6 to 7:30?
Yeah,
That's what we did last year, and it was so
We-
dark, I had to set up lights at the church.
And we did it because, we made it that late because it was a work night
It was a work night,
and
okay,
people
all right.
getting home
So they
at
should
5
be
o'clock,
home,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And the time
It's
doesn't
Saturday.
change yet either. The time doesn't change.
No, not
until
till
that
first of
Sunday.
November, I think
Right.
it is.
Okay.
Although what people said on Facebook, I knew it was wrong, but it. Okay. We need a motion to approve the magistrate report.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Rob?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Next one will be ordinance 2015-12, Swicker Gas. And I'll read the heading, it just got definitions and stuff that they got, it's no rates or anything. It's like, it's an ordinance to regulate the rates and charges to be charged and collected and the services to be rendered by Swicker Gas Company, its successors and assigns for natural gas and natural gas service furnished to the village of Bettsville, Ohio, and its inhabitants for the period of January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016. Whereas ordinance 2014-18 of the village of Bettsville established the rates to be charged and collected by Swicker Gas Company for natural gas service rendered within the villages for the 12 months of, ending in December 31st, 2015. So this is just an update to make it current for the next year. And it just gives definition what the village means, what the company, CCF, OAC, ORC, PUCO, and all that kind of stuff. So this will be the first reading. That way we can do 3 readings and then it'll take effect in January. Okay, and I got OhioCheckbook.com on here. I went to the meeting down at the treasurer's office with Josh Mandel, and we are on the OhioCheckbook.com. They flipped it over. I think there's probably about 100 of the villages and cities and stuff right now out of about 3,500 and 4,000 people, which they're coming on fast. But I guess what I'm saying is Bettsville was the first village to be on it. And now New Riggle and some other ones are on it, Green Springs and that. But it's a transparency to see every check that we write, everything that we do. But it will be put on a yearly basis at the end of each year. Right now we have 2013 and 2014 up and running on the OhioCheckbook.com. You go to OhioGov.com and then it'll say Ohio Checkbook on there, and you click on that. You can get the state funds, what they spend their money for, and all of us that's on there now. So it's kind of a transparency type thing so that people can see how we spend our money, and you can even bring up a check that we wrote. So it tells you how on there. So it's something good that we want to show we have nothing to hide, that we do everything that we're supposed to be doing, and people can look at this and take a good gander at it. So I think that's something good that we did. On the Cindy Sears Shank asked, well, she was on Facebook and asked what the people thought about having a Bettsville Halloween extravaganza. And so she's trying to put this together. She needs help. It's going to be on October 24th, 2015. There's going to be a parade starting at 1 o'clock. We're going to line up at the school, go down Washington Street to Union Street, right on 12, and then go out to the, turn at the bank there and go right on out to the park. And her plans are, she's gonna have haunted shelter houses. She needs decorations and stuff. There's gonna be a costume judging contest and games of all ages. If you would like to be part of the parade with old cars, tractors, decorated wagons with children, or if you have donations like decorations, craft supplies, etc., just contact Cindy Shears Shank at 419-307-6529.
Where does she live at? I mean, I
She
don't-
lives right behind the bar
Beside
there.
Kevin Crumbs.
It was, I think it was Ed's old house, wasn't it? It's
Doesn't
on-
she live beside Kevin Crumbs? Isn't she the
No.
one?
No, 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 no,
That's
no,
not
no,
her?
no, she lives behind,
Oh, Ed Addis's house?
yeah,
Okay.
right there, that very first house. When you
Okay.
leave the bar, back of the bar, go to the first house there.
Okay.
But she's real adamant, and she's adamant about it's gonna be for the kids. We want, and everything is gonna be free, everything's gonna go with donations and everything. We're gonna have hot dogs, we're gonna have cider, we're gonna have different things, which we're gonna need help with, but, she likes people to help with anything they could, if they could even donate Halloween decorations, she'll see that you get them back, if you just wanna loan them out to her, or if you wanna buy some and that. But they're gonna have all the shelter houses decorated up in a different theme, like spooky ones, and it's gonna be it should be a lot of fun if we want the village kids and everybody to participate in it. And it's just a fun,
So in other words, it's for the family.
it's a family type thing, yes.
So what day was that again?
October 24th.
October 24th.
It's on a Saturday.
What was her name again?
Cindy Sears Shank,
Shank.
S-H-A-N-K.
Oh, is it all on there?
Yeah, Cindy Shank.
Okay.
You can get her at that telephone number I give you, or you can get on her Facebook page. You know,
So we're gonna or everybody's gotta donate like hot dogs and stuff like that too then?
well, she wants to have people do baked goods and stuff like that, so like, to give out for the kids and stuff
That's good.
like that. I mean, we need
Good
the village participation because, she just wants this to really be a nice deal, and the way she's saying that what she's got coming and that, gonna have like the high society baton twirlers, and then there's other people there's gonna be cars, there's gonna be tractors, we want floats, decoration wagons, whatever, the kids marching out in the parade and so forth.
So when is it?
October 24th. I have requested at Old Fort Band, I got a hold of the band director, she's supposed to get back to me if the band can play. And Jared, if you would kind of ask her again, I would appreciate it. We can't let you sit here and not do nothing, you know?
Got stuck right in, huh?
Yeah,
The part that's out at the park, does that open the village to any exposure if someone gets hurt or anything?
Well, that's why we have
Yeah.
liability insurance. I think
Yeah.
that's why we have insurance, so
All right.
yeah,
wasn't involved, so.
Be no different than if we rented a shelter house.
Right,
yeah.
right. Or just any.
And she's gonna have like a hayride out there, which, it's gonna be on a low trailer, and it's gonna be pulled with a four-wheeler, so it's gonna be low to the ground and stuff, so,
I was against the tractor.
yeah.
Well, I-
You didn't want the big wagons and stuff where you could fall off
Yeah,
and
so.
so forth. This one, you don't have 2 foot of fall. But hopefully nothing like that would happen.
Maybe I can get up on that.
And it's gonna stay on the property.
Yeah, the hayride is gonna be right on the property all the time.
Okay.
Nothing's leaving the property
Well,
once they get out there.
That's good.
So, but she is really, really excited about it, and I hope she gets good participation with it, and people volunteer to cook, or to bake and have things going.
And she contacted the school and stuff already, so they can really help the kids.
She's passing these out. She's got flyers that's gonna be handed out to everybody. Yeah, school and everybody, so we want everybody can get involved in it, I think it's gonna be a super neat deal, and I'm glad to see somebody in the community just wanna step up and really do it, and Cindy's doing a great job. So, we're gonna owe her a lot. I mean, it's just, I told her this won't be the last thing we volunteer for.
What'd you say, Phil?
They gonna post flyers at the
Yeah,
bank
they
and-
had one at the
Yeah.
bank, at the
Post office.
library.
Yeah, they
the
got
post
them, they got them up
office,
there
yeah.
now. But she's passing them out too. Here's what it looks like. The one she's got out there, that's just a black and white one, we got colored ones.
They were about a week ago.
Okay, that's good.
All the ladies are talking about it on Facebook.
That's how you do it.
And Linda, if you could get involved with the church with it, or,
I'm gonna be out of town that weekend, Gary.
On the school side?
well, I mean, would you ask them if they would donate anything or something?
I will definitely ask if they wanna do
And if any of the ladies would bake or whatever,
Yeah,
okay?
I can do that, but I'm gonna be out
Robbie
of
will
town.
bake something.
Huh?
Robbie will bake something.
That's good, I want his, I'm gonna sample them first.
Right, right. That happened Friday night, a tree come down, I come in Saturday and cleaned it up and called AEP and they should be here tomorrow.
Yeah, it was pretty big, it was across the road. And thanks Scotty for helping get it off the
Gotta
road.
do what you gotta do, so.
So,
I'll get,
Brent, you want to go into executive session, right? Okay. Okay, anybody else got anything under new business to bring up before we go?
Well, I-
Just you were asking about these domain names. Nobody owns them. You were asking at the last meeting about these domain names for
Okay.
Bettsville. Nobody owns them, they're just trying to sell them.
Hmm.
So anybody can buy them.
Can I see that?
It had our address on
It
it.
had our address, but nobody owns it.
I
So
think-
they're,
GoDaddy and
right.
different ones.
So if they want to, they don't have to.
Oh, we had
I
GoDaddy.
think Gary, we're gonna knock some trees down.
All I
Yes,
did was just give them a call.
We are going, I think there's a total of 7 trees that we're gonna be taking down somewhere around that, isn't it? 5?
5.
Okay, well, it's a little low. Okay, 5 trees
Before my
that,
time.
that we're going to do.
Really? I don't watch
So-
much TV.
Hey Gary, before we go into executive session, I think we need to talk about the hostile environment. Potential employees.
Okay,
So I think it's important I get to the floor, so.
okay, well, you go ahead and take the floor. You got it.
Well, I guess the issue comes down to, that, the village employees have came to the council and saying basically they feel that they're in a hostile environment. And it's our responsibility as a council to take care of our employees, make sure that they're not being harassed by any one person from the council or whatever it is. They have a hassle-free work environment, they can do their jobs without being second-guessed by somebody. We have procedures, we have administration, we have a mayor that sets the priorities of what he wants the village employees to do, and that's how it needs to be handled. We can't have any particular council member to say, okay, this is what I want or whatever, because that's why the council is a administrative, they make the laws or ordinances like that. The mayor sets the tone for what he thinks his priorities are. And we can bring it to the table, we can question his direction or whatever, and we can vote on it and have those kind of issues, but that's, to have direct contact or to the employees or saying the employees are doing their jobs or whatever, I don't think it's acceptable and that's the right way to handle it, because that's the way we were doing in the industry. We have policy and procedures, that's why we have the books, the job descriptions, we have that stuff out there. This stuff's publicly available, if somebody's got a question, they can come read the books. But the problem is this Facebook, I want to call it virtual bullying, and it goes on and stuff like that, is totally unacceptable to employees. This needs to be put out in the public. This is wrong. Nobody in the real world is gonna work under that kind of environment without leaving.
Absolutely not.
And it's not, and in the industry, you couldn't get away with that. You'd be in a lawsuit.
We had a guy
And
walked
we're the same
out
way.
today for the same reason, local.
Yeah,
It was a joke between two parties, third party saying it, then they was fine, he was gone.
yeah.
That's the way it is.
We can't have that. Employees are hard to get them trained. There's a lot of cost involved in getting people trained. There's a lot of cost involved of just putting a employee package together. And then if you lose somebody, it's very hard to replace, because there's that knowledge the person has. Doesn't matter if you're doing an administrative thing like accounting, or if you're doing the physical labor at the street departments or the sewer plants, whatever. Those are learned trades, and it's hard to get good technical people. And Steve and I, we work with technical people all the time. You work with technical people. You know how hard it is to get good technical people.
Very hard.
It's very hard. and they're very costly. So I think it's very important for the community to understand that if you lose somebody, to replace them, it's gonna cost you twice as much or 3 times as much to get somebody. So you gotta be very careful about how we treat our employees. And it's not acceptable to run them down on Facebook or some kind of a rural assault, it's a written assault, it's just not, it's not acceptable. And I, as a council member, don't accept that. I think it's not right,
Then why don't they kick them off?
because they're elected officials.
Is there an example?
Well, I think Stan, I'll come out and say it, I mean, look at some of the postings you put on the Facebook, or you put on some of your emails or whatever. I don't think that's acceptable. If you have a problem with policy, no,
Can you show me one,
Well,
an example?
I can bring all the samples up, we can put all this stuff together and bring it to you. And we can-
2x4 comes to my mind.
So, and we've, even the
Come to your
council,
mind?
yeah, and even the council has some.
We ought to
Shut
be
up.
hit with,
Wait a minute, even the council.
there, just
Well,
like
how about,
that.
how about an
You're in charge.
example?
Well-
That's real general statement, I don't know, I'd like an example.
Well, good examples, basically said that.
The council was a joke, the current council was a joke, and that they ought to be hit over the head with a 2x4. That was right on Facebook, you put it on.
I don't think it was worded that way.
Oh,
But it
yeah,
was worded
It was
similar to
worded.
that.
No, I don't think so. Why don't you print some, I've asked that 100 times. If there's an example, print it out.
we don't wanna
You
stoop to
spin
your
it your
level.
way, and it wasn't worded anywhere close to what he said.
Yes, see, he doesn't even remember what he wrote.
Well, print it out.
And the other thing.
Is that so
Stan-
hard?
Stan, the other thing you need to understand, it doesn't matter if it's a perceived hostility, it's the same thing, it's the intent. So we can't have this kind of environment for our employees, because it's too hard to get good employees. Now, you can disagree,
So-
you can disagree, that's not, listen, you can disagree or whatever you want,
I'd like
that's
to see
fine.
an example. You say employees,
We're talking, all right, I'll give you for example. You constantly cyberbully John, and you keep saying the administration don't have. a
No,
clue.
Miss Administrator.
This administration, yeah, or this administrator even. I mean, constant. You belittle Gary.
I remember
Public.
writing that one time.
Oh,
Now you're
You
saying
shouldn't- you
constant.
shouldn't-
I remember writing
Oh.
something like that one time.
Well, here we
you
go.
gotta read
But you
some of
didn't
this
say
stuff.
constant.
Okay, whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
wait,
hold
wait.
it up.
Okay, I think that John has a good presentation of all the facts, if that's what you really want, Stan. I mean, I can't remember verbatim all the words, but I think we have the documentation here to prove kind of what your intent is.
Well, there is such a thing as freedom of speech
That's
too.
right.
Are you keeping that in the mix?
Yeah, but you can't harass you're a council member, so now you're an elected official, you gotta protect your employees. If you create an environment that is hostile to your employees.
Well, if you believe I do, then I would charge me with something.
Here, let me say it, Kyle. I'll get you some specifics.
Instead of running your mouth here, why don't you charge me with something? It's as simple as that. Otherwise, I'm gonna voice what I believe I feel and think. If you wanna charge me with something, go ahead and do it.
So why do you feel you have to?
No but about it. Charge me.
Listen. Why do you always feel you have to run us down all the time? I mean, don't we do anything right? Do we do anything
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we do
Well, why
some
don't you
things
ever
right.
say that we do something right? You know? Can't answer, can you?
You guys can keep going out.
Yeah, because I thought I had a copy of
I
it.
said, there was no way I could remember this verbatim.
Well, that's why you should print it out and
We
say
have plenty
1,
printed
2,
out,
3,
so
4,
We
5,
got
or
the
whatever.
documentation there if we want to, we can go through line by line if that's what you want to do. But the issue.
Well, then get Rick to
Listen,
charge me with something.
That's what we're bringing to the table now. We want you to understand our employee's position. Now, you, like I said, you're welcome to having your views, and if you got procedural issues or something like that, you can bring to the council table. That's what we need.